Welcome to our English lesson for Thursday, the 7th of January 2021. We are learning to make predictions. So I'm going to show you some images. I want you to think about what the story, our picture story, is going to be about. So the first one, you can see a coin. Next one, a set of teeth or a set of false teeth. A pair of glasses. A lot of hair, or maybe a beard, possibly. Or maybe a wig. A boy. And a plant. Might be maybe a beanstalk. So here are all the images. Have a think, what do you think the story is about? Well, this is what the story is about. It's called Jim and the Beanstalk. So here is the front cover. What do you think this story is about now you've seen the front cover? Okay, you might want to write down your ideas for that. Okay, so you can see it's a boy with a tape measure on the front cover, measuring someone's face. Now, my next question is, obviously, it's called something similar to a traditional tale, Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, do you think this is the same or different to the traditional tale? And then how do you know? So please record your answers on a piece of paper. So I'm going to start reading you the story. Early one morning, Jim woke up and saw an enormous plant growing outside his house. "That's funny," he said. "It wasn't there yesterday. I'll see how high it goes." And he began to climb up the plant. "It certainly is a big plant," he said, as he went into the clouds. When he reached the top of the plant, Jim saw a castle. "I'm hungry," he said. "I'll ask at the castle for breakfast. I hope they have cornflakes." Jim ran into the castle and knocked on the door. He waited and waited until the door was slowly opened by a very old giant. "Aha!" said the giant. "A boy, a nice juicy boy. 3 fried boys on a slice of toast. That's why I used to enjoy eating in the old days. But I've got no teeth now. Come in, boy. You're quite safe." The giant shared his breakfast of beef and beer with Jim. "Is your name Jack?" he asked. "No," said Jim. "It's Jim." "Did you come up a beanstalk?" asked the giant. "I came up some sort of plant," said Jim. "It's that beanstalk again," said the giant. "It came up once before. That pesky boy Jack stole some of my father's gold and took our golden harp and our golden hen, and I've never really been happy since. And now I'm old too. I can't even see to read my poetry books because the print is too small." Right, okay. The image that you can see is the next page of the story. So I now want you to think, I want you to make a prediction. What do you think happens next? So please record it on a piece of paper and make sure you explain why. So you might want to pause the video now to be able to do that. Right, I'm going to carry on reading the story. "Haven't you got any glasses?" asked Jim. "Only beer glasses," said the giant. "I mean reading glasses," said Jim. "They go on your nose and ears." "It's my eyes I'm talking about," roared the giant, banging his fist on the table. "These glasses are for your eyes," said Jim, and he explained about glasses while the giant listened carefully. "Get 'em," said the giant fiercely, when Jim had finished. "Get 'em for me. I'll pay good gold." "I'll have to measure you," said Jim. So Jim measured the giant's head. The giant gave Jim a gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he got dressed and ran off to the oculist. The oculist could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night, and in the morning the glasses were ready. Jim carried them home. Then he tied them on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his glasses and began reading rhymes to Jim as soon as he put them on. "You're a good boy," he said. "Now I can see properly. I wonder what you'd be like to eat. I can't eat anything much nowadays because I've got no teeth." "Why don't you have false teeth?" asked Jim. "False teeth?" roared the giant. "Never heard of them." So Jim explained about false teeth while the giant listened carefully. "Get 'em," said the giant when Jim had finished. "Get 'em for me. I'll pay good gold." So Jim measured the giant's mouth. "Make them big," said the giant, "and sharp. I like sharp teeth." The giant gave Jim another gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he ran off to the dentist. The dentist could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night, and in the morning the teeth were ready. Jim carried them home. Then he tied them on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his new teeth. He jumped up and down, chomping his jaws and gnashing the teeth until the sparks flew. Then the giant sat down and looked at himself in the mirror. "Ah," he said, "I used to be a good-looking lad. Great head of flaming red hair I had, and now look at me." "Why don't you have a wig?" asked Jim. "A wig?" roared the giant. "Never heard of a wig." So Jim explained about wigs while the giant listened carefully. "Get one," said the giant when Jim had finished. "Get one that's red and curly. I'll pay good gold." So Jim measured the rest of the giant's head. The giant gave Jim another gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk as fast as he could, holding tight to the coin. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he ran off to the wig maker. The wig maker could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night, and in the morning the wig was ready. Jim carried it home. Then he tied it on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his wig. "I looked about 100 years younger," he said. He put on all his best clothes and danced about the room, beaming at himself in the mirror. "Marvellous! Wonderful!" he boomed. "I'm happy again. I feel like a new giant, and my appetite has come back." Right, okay, I want you to stop at the image that you can see on the screen. So how do you think the story will end? So again, please write it down on a piece of paper and make sure you explain why. Okay, you might want to pause the video now. Right, I'm going to finish reading the story. The giant stood still and looked at Jim. "Fried boy," he said thoughtfully. Just waited to hear no more. He ran to the beanstalk, slid down it as fast as he could, and landed below in a heap. Above him, he could hear the thunder of the giant footsteps, seizing an axe. Jim swung mightily and chopped down the beanstalk. At the very moment the beanstalk fell, something else landed beside Jim with a thud. It was a huge piece of paper wrapped around a giant gold coin. On the paper was written, "Dear Jim, thank you for the teeth and the glasses, also the lovely wig. Your friend, the giant." Jim ran inside and showed the giant gold coin to his mother. "At last you can keep a coin for yourself," she said. Somewhere in the distance, Jim heard the rumble of giant laughter. Okay, now if you want a fly high challenge, I want you to think about this. Was the story what you expected? Explain why. Write down your answer. Okay, now this is just something to finish off with. So, would you have ended the story in that way? Why? If you would have changed it, what would you have done differently?